Today we're going to talk about how to put the thread on the machine. And the first thing I would like you to do is take the spool of thread with the thread coming from the top of the spool and place it on the spool pin right here. Then you need to take the spool holder and place it at the end of the spool, which holds the spool in place so it won't come off the machine. The first step in threading this, the thread goes around this little black knob, and you can hold it either in your right hand or your left hand, whichever is comfortable. Now the thread goes down through this slot right here and underneath where the opening shows, and then it comes right up to the top. The next thing that has to be threaded is something called the take-up lever. The job of the take-up lever is to pull the thread from the spool down to the needle. The take-up lever is regulated by the hand wheel that is on the right side of the machine. When I tell you to turn the hand wheel, you always turn it towards you. Always towards you. To thread the take-up lever has to be up at its highest position, and you can regulate it by turning the hand wheel and moving it to a different position. In order to thread the take-up lever, I want you to look on the side of the take-up lever, and you can see that there is a hole and a slot on the side of the take-up lever. You're first going to place your finger on the top thread to hold it in place. Then you're going to take the thread along the side of the take-up lever, across the back of the take-up lever, and across the third side, and the thread automatically slips in place into the front hole from the back slot to the hole. So let's do that again. We're starting from the top. We're going to take the thread from the spool around the little black knob. We're going to take the thread down through the slot, through the opening, and around and up again. The take-up lever is the piece that pulls the thread from the spool to the needle. It's regulated by the hand wheel. You're going to take the hand wheel and turn the take-up lever so it's at its highest position. It's very important that the take-up lever be threaded, because if it is not threaded properly, the thread has no way to get from the spool of thread to the needle, and therefore will not make any stitches. To get this thread into the take-up lever, again, you're going to put your finger on the thread coming from the spool. You're going to hold on to the thread and make it tight. You're going to take the thread along one side of the take-up lever, across the back side, and across the third side, and the thread automatically slips right into the take-up lever itself. Here?
Yep.
Okay. Now the thread goes into a slot that's just above the needle. Here's the needle, and there's a little hook on the other side back here, and the thread can be taken right back here like this, through that little hook and down. This little hook does nothing for you except it holds a thread coming from up here down to the needle in a straight line. This little knob holds the needle in place. Now, to put the thread through the needle, first you have to find the needle. If the needle is inside the machine, you have to take the hand wheel, again turn it towards you, bring the needle all the way up, and then you can see at the very bottom of the needle there's a tiny little hole. To thread that needle, you're going to take the thread and cut it on an angle, because that makes a nice sharp point for the thread to go through the needle. You're going to hold the thread very close to the end, and you're going to come close to the needle, but while your finger is near this needle, your foot will not and should not be on that floor pedal. And you're going to push the thread right through the eye of the needle. You're going to bring your other hand around and grab the thread and pull it through, and it's all set. As soon as you've threaded that needle, you should be able to pull on this thread, and it should flow freely through the machine. We'll talk about how to put the bobbin in place now. It's necessary to have the bobbin because, as we talked about before, it does the underneath stitching. The bobbin case is a piece of black circle here, and then inside of it there's a piece of steel that's also a circular piece. I'm going to drop this bobbin in here, and I'm going to take this thread and bring it right through this little hole and between the two pieces to the left. So I'm dropping the bobbin in place. I'm putting my finger on top of it to hold it in place. I'm taking the thread and putting it right in this slot right there, and then I'm going to drag it, so to speak, over here to the left until it clicks in place, and you'll be able to hear and feel a tiny little click. Now, the bobbin thread has to come up through the hole where the needle goes down. I have to move its location from here to there. In order to do that, you're going to leave the bobbin thread sitting here. I don't want you to hold it because if you hold it, it can't move. So you're going to hold the thread coming from the needle only. You're going to watch this take-up lever, and as you turn the hand wheel, the take-up lever is going to go down and up one time. So the take-up lever is going down, the take-up lever on its way up. Look inside the bobbin case. You can see right here the thread coming around the bobbin, grabbing the bobbin thread, and when the take-up lever reaches its highest position, all you have to do is just pull on this a little bit, and there's the loop of the bobbin thread. The top thread grabbed it and brought it right through. And then you're going to take both threads and put them to the back of the machine. The bobbin thread does not need to go through the needle. The only thread that goes through the needle is the thread that comes from the top. Once you finish threading the bobbin through the bottom part of the machine, then the plastic cover goes in place. After you've placed the cover on the top of the bobbin case, take both threads to the back of the machine, and right here on this post, there's a place to cut the threads, and you're going to take the threads right down through that little slot, which will make them even, and I want you to leave about 5-6 inches of thread hanging out the back of the machine.